Leila Monroe's hands shook as she stared at the stranger sitting across from her in the coffee shop. This was not how blind dates were supposed to go. The man in the expensive green sweater looked at her with polite confusion, clearly not recognizing her, while another man in a stained gray hoodie stood beside their table, waving a phone screen in her face. "I'm your date," the hoodie man said, his breath smelling of onions. "You got the wrong guy." Leila felt her face burn with embarrassment. She had walked up to the well-dressed man with confidence, introduced herself, and sat down like she owned the place. Now 20 people in the coffee shop were watching this disaster unfold. The well-dressed stranger could have been cruel. He could have laughed at her mistake or made her feel small. Instead, he did something unexpected. "Why don't I buy coffee for both of you?" the stranger said, his voice calm and kind. "Seems like there's been a mix-up, but no reason we can't all be friendly about it." The hoodie man's face turned red. "I paid $10 for this date, and she's supposed to talk to me, not you." Leila wanted to disappear. She had signed up for a budget dating app 3 weeks ago, desperate to meet someone after 2 years of being alone. $10 per match, they promised. She had saved that $10 from her tips at the diner where she worked double shifts. Now it felt like the worst investment of her life. "I'm so sorry," Leila said to both men, her voice barely above a whisper. "I thought you were him," she told the green-sweatered man. "The app just said to meet at table 12, and you were sitting here alone, and I just assumed." The stranger smiled at her. Not a mocking smile, but something genuine. "It's okay. These things happen." But the hoodie man was not having it. "You know what? Forget this. I want my $10 back." He stormed off toward the counter, leaving Leila sitting there with a stranger who had no obligation to be nice to her. She started to stand up, ready to leave and never show her face in this coffee shop again. The stranger gestured to the chair. "Please stay. I already ordered us both coffee. It would be a shame to waste it." Leila hesitated. Every instinct told her to run, but something in his eyes made her pause. There was no judgment there, no mockery, just simple human kindness. So she sat back down, accepting his offer with a grateful nod, not knowing that this one decision would change absolutely everything about her life. Have you ever made a mistake that turned into a blessing? Do you believe some people come into our lives exactly when we need them most? If this story touches your heart, please subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support means everything. The coffee shop smelled like cinnamon and fresh bread. Leila had chosen this place because it was close to the diner where she worked and because the prices were reasonable. She could not afford fancy restaurants or expensive cocktails. Her entire life was measured in tips and grocery store sales. "I'm Adrian, by the way," the man said, extending his hand across the table. "Leila?" She shook his hand, noticing the calluses on his palm. Rich men did not usually have calluses. Maybe he was not as wealthy as his clothes suggested. Maybe he worked hard for his money like she did. The barista brought 2 large coffees and a plate of cookies. Adrian pushed the cookies toward Leila. "They're really good here. Please help yourself." Leila took 1 cookie, even though she was hungry enough to eat all of them. Her last meal had been 6 hours ago, a quick sandwich between her breakfast and lunch shifts. "Thank you," she said. "You really didn't have to do this." "I know I didn't have to," Adrian said. "I wanted to. Besides, this is the most interesting thing that's happened to me all week." They talked for 20 minutes about nothing important. The weather, the coffee, the funny sign on the bathroom door. Then Adrian asked, "So what do you do, Leila?" "I'm a waitress at Harbor Diner on Maple Avenue. But I'm also an artist. Well, I'm trying to be." She felt stupid saying it out loud. Who called themselves an artist when they had not sold a single painting? "What kind of art?" "Portraits mostly. Sometimes landscapes." I carry my portfolio everywhere hoping someone will want to see it." She laughed at herself. "I know that sounds desperate. Can I see it?" Leela froze. She hadn't expected that. Most people shifted the conversation when she mentioned her art, offering polite smiles and a weather comment. But Adrian looked genuinely curious. She slipped a worn folder from her bag and opened it with care. Inside were photos of her paintings. She couldn't lug canvases around the city. Adrian took his time with each image. He didn't skim and nod, he really looked. "These are beautiful," he said at last. "You've got real talent." Heat pricked behind Lila's eyes and she blinked fast. "Thank you. That means a lot. I'm serious. You should be in galleries. I've tried. No one wants to take a chance on an unknown without formal training. I taught myself videos, library books." Adrian set down his coffee. "That makes it even more impressive." They kept talking for another hour. Lila learned Adrian was a single father to a 6-year-old, Ellie. His wife had died when Ellie was a baby. He worked in business, something with technology and apps, but he didn't offer more. And Lila liked that he didn't brag or try to impress. When the staff began lifting chairs onto tables, Lila realized they'd gone right past closing. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," she said, jumping up. "We stayed too long." Outside, the evening air had a bite. Lila tugged her thin jacket close. Adrian noticed. "Can I drive you home? It's getting cold." She should have said no. Taking rides from strangers wasn't smart. But he'd been nothing but kind, and the bus would take 40 minutes. That would be really nice. "Thank you," she said. His car was nicer than anything Lila had ridden in, the leather soft, the dashboard washed in blue light. Adrian didn't make a point of it. He just drove carefully through the streets, asking for turns to her building. When they parked, he turned to her. "I know this is forward, but I'd like to see you again. Would that be okay?" Lila's heart jumped. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "I'd like that too. And Lila, about your art supplies. I noticed some of your photos were taken of paintings on cardboard instead of canvas. If you'd let me help you get proper supplies, I'd be grateful. I believe in investing in talent." She started to refuse automatically. Pride made her want to say she could handle it herself. But then she thought about the empty corner of her apartment where she wanted to paint but could not afford materials. She thought about kindness and accepting help when it was offered with genuine care. "Thank you," she said quietly. "I really appreciate that." Adrian smiled. "Good, I'll text you tomorrow and we'll figure out the details." As Lila walked up the stairs to her small apartment, she felt something she had not felt in years. Oh, real solid hope that maybe life was finally about to get better. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Adrian. Thank you for the best accidental date I've ever had. Sleep well." Lila read the message 3 times before falling asleep with a smile on her face. 3 days later, Lila stood inside an art supply store she had only ever looked at from outside. Adrian had met her there on his lunch break, insisting that she pick out everything she needed. The smell of fresh canvas and paint made her dizzy with happiness. "This is too much," she said, looking at the growing pile of supplies, brushes, canvases, professional-grade paints, and colors she had only dreamed of using. "It's an investment," Adrian said again. "When you're famous someday, I'll tell everyone I helped at the beginning." The cashier rang up the total, $473. Lila felt sick. That was more than her rent. But Adrian handed over his card without blinking. "You deserve quality tools for your talent," he said. They loaded everything into his car. Lila kept thanking him until he laughed. "You said thank you about 15 times. I get it, you're grateful. Now do you have plans for lunch?" "I work the dinner shift today, so I'm free." They ate sandwiches in a riverside park. Children played on the swings, and couples walked dogs along the paths. It felt normal and natural, like they had known each other for years instead of days. "Tell me about Ellie," Lila said, watching Adrian's face light up. "She's everything," he said simply. "Smart, funny, way too independent for a 6-year-old. She loves asking questions. Every day it's, 'Daddy, why is the sky blue?' Or, 'Daddy, why can't dogs talk?' I'm constantly looking things up on my phone." Lila laughed. "She sounds wonderful." "She is. It's been just the two of us for so long. I worry sometimes that she needs more. More family, more stability, more than just a dad who tries his best." "I think trying your best is exactly what she needs," Lila said softly. "My dad raised me alone after my mom left when I was 8. He worked in a factory, came home tired every night, but he always made time for me. He tried his best, and that was more than enough." Adrian looked at her with something deep in his eyes. "Respect maybe, or understanding. Your dad sounds like a good man." "He is. He still worries about me even though I'm 26. Calls me every Sunday to make sure I'm eating enough and staying safe. I'd like to meet him someday." The words hung in the air between them. Meeting parents was serious. It meant this was more than just casual dating. Lila felt her heart speed up. "I'd like that too," she said. They spent the next 2 weeks seeing each other whenever their schedules allowed. Adrian would meet her after her shifts at the diner, sitting in a back booth and drinking coffee while she finished work. He helped her carry her new art supplies up to her apartment and stayed to watch her paint. He never made her feel rushed or pressured. He just enjoyed being near her. "You're different from anyone I've ever dated," Adrian said one evening, watching her add details to a portrait. "You're real." "What do you mean?" "You care about people. You notice things. Last week when we were at that restaurant, you asked our waitress how her day was going and actually listened to her answer. Most people don't do that." Lila shrugged, mixing blue and white on her palette. "Everyone deserves kindness. It doesn't cost anything to care about people." "That's exactly what I mean. You live that belief. It's not just words for you." She looked up from her canvas. "My dad always said that kindness is the only thing worth passing on in this world. Everything else, money, success, all of that can disappear, but kindness stays." Adrian got up from the old couch and walked over to her. He kissed her forehead gently. "Your dad is a wise man. He'd like you," Lila said. "You have a good heart. I hope Ellie likes you too. I want you to meet her. Is that okay?" Lila, her paintbrush. This was a big step. Meeting his daughter meant this relationship was serious, that Adrian saw a future. Fear and excitement mixed in her chest. "Yes," she said. "I'd love to meet her. How about this weekend? We could go to the park. Ellie loves the playground there. Nothing formal, just hanging out." "That sounds perfect." The rest of the week passed slowly. Lila worked her shifts and painted in between, trying not to be nervous about meeting Ellie. What if the little girl did not like her? What if Lila said the wrong thing? She shared her worries with Jasmine at the diner. "Girl, you're overthinking this," Jasmine said, refilling salt shakers during the slow afternoon. "Kids are simple. Be nice to them. Pay attention to them and they'll love you. Besides, Adrian wouldn't introduce you to his daughter if he wasn't serious about you. That's what scares me. What if I mess this up?" "You won't. You're one of the kindest people I know. That little girl is going to adore you." Saturday arrived with clear blue skies. Adrian picked Lila up at 10 o'clock in the morning. She had changed her outfit 4 times before settling on jeans and a bright red shirt that her father had given her last Christmas. Simple, friendly, not trying too hard. Ellie was waiting at the park entrance, bouncing with energy. She wore a maroon dress and had her hair in 2 puffs on either side of her head. When she saw Lila, she ran over with no hesitation. "Hi, you're Lila," Daddy showed me your picture. You're really pretty. Leela knelt down to Ellie's level. Thank you, Ellie. You're very pretty too. I love your dress. It's my favorite. Daddy says red and maroon are power colors. What's your favorite color? Blue, all shades of blue. Like the ocean. Exactly like the ocean. Ellie grabbed Leela's hand without asking. Come on, I want to show you the swings. They spent the morning playing. Ellie was fearless on the playground, climbing to the top of the jungle gym and sliding down the highest slide. She talked constantly, asking Lila questions about everything from her favorite food to whether she believed in magic. Do you like art? Leela asked while they sat on a bench, sharing the snacks Adrian had packed. Ellie's eyes got big. I love art, but I'm not very good at it. Everyone can be good at art if they practice. Would you like me to teach you sometime? Really? You would do that? Leela looked at Adrian, who nodded with a smile. Really? Lila said we could paint together. Ellie threw her arms around Lila's neck. You're the best. Daddy, can Leela come to our house, please? Adrian laughed. If Leela wants to, then yes. Leela felt something warm spread through her chest. This little girl, this sweet child, was accepting her without question. I'd love to come to your house, she said. The afternoon passed in a blur of happiness. They played tag, fed the ducks at the pond, and ate ice cream from a vendor cart. Ellie held both their hands as they walked, swinging between them and giggling every time they lifted her off the ground. As the sun started to set, Adrian drove them back to Lila's apartment. Ellie had fallen asleep in the back seat, her head resting against her father's jacket. She really likes you, Adrian said quietly. I can tell. I really like her too. Leela went still. She hadn't expected that. Most people changed the subject when her art came up. Polite smile, comment about the weather, but Adrian looked genuinely interested. She slid a worn folder from her bag and opened it with care. Inside were photos of her paintings. Hauling canvases around the city wasn't possible. Adrian studied each image, unhurried. He didn't skim and nod, he truly looked. These are beautiful, he said at last. You have real talent. Heat pricked behind Lila's eyes. She blinked away. Thank you. That means a lot. I'm serious, you should be in galleries. I've tried. No one wants to bet on an unknown without formal training. I learned from videos and library books. Adrian set his coffee down. That makes it even more impressive. They talked for another hour. Lila learned Adrian was a single father to a 6-year-old named Ellie. His wife had died when Ellie was a baby. He worked in business, something with technology and apps, but didn't elaborate. And Leela liked that he wasn't trying to impress her. When the staff began setting chairs on tables, she realized they'd talked past closing. Oh no, I'm sorry we stayed too long, she said, springing up. Outside, the evening air had a bite. Lila pulled her thin jacket tighter. Adrian noticed. Can I drive you home? It's getting cold. She knew she should say no, rides from near strangers weren't smart, but he'd been nothing but kind, and the bus would take 40 minutes. That would be really nice. Thank you, she said. His car was nicer than anything Leela had ridden in soft leather. A dashboard glowing blue, but Adrian didn't make a show of it. He drove carefully, asking for turns to her building. When they parked, he turned to her. I know this is forward, he said, but I'd like to see you again. Come on, let's paint. They climbed the stairs to Ellie's bedroom. Layla had expected a princess room, all pink and frilly. Instead, Ellie's room was painted in shades of green and blue, with bookshelves full of chapter books and science kits. A small easel stood by the window with paper clipped to it. Daddy bought me this easel, but I don't know how to use it, right? Ellie said. Will you show me? For the next hour, Leela taught Ellie basic painting techniques. How to hold the brush, how to mix colors, how to clean between shaves. Ellie absorbed everything like a sponge, asking questions and trying new things without fear of making mistakes. Art is about expressing how you feel, Lila explained. There's no wrong way to do it. What if I paint something ugly? Then it's still your art and it's still valuable. The beauty is in the creating, not just the finished product. Adrian stood in the doorway watching them. When Lila noticed him, he smiled. You're good with her. She makes it easy. She's curious about everything. Ellie held up her painting, a colorful mess of shapes and swirls. Look what I made. It's wonderful, Lila said honestly. Tell me about it. These are feelings. The blue is calm. The red is excited. The yellow is happy. It's how I feel when I paint with you. Lila felt tears prick her eyes. Ellie, that's beautiful. You're a natural artist. They painted until Ellie's stomach growled loudly, making all three of them laugh. Adrian ordered pizza as predicted, and they ate it on the living room floor. Ellie chattering between bites about everything she wanted to paint next. Lila, do you have a family? Ellie asked suddenly. Ellie, that's personal. Adrian said gently. It's okay, Lila assured him. Yes, I have family. My dad lives across town. My mom left when I was young, but my dad raised me. He's my hero. Can we meet him? Ellie, Adrian started. But Lila smiled. Sure, he'd love to meet you. He's always asking about the people in my life. After dinner, they all sat on the couch to watch a movie Ellie had chosen. Halfway through, Ellie climbed into Lila's lap and fell asleep, her small body warm and trusting. Lila carefully stroked the child's hair, feeling a surge of protective love she had not expected. She doesn't usually warm up to people this fast. Adrian whispered, You're special to her, to both of us. She's special to me too. When the movie ended, Adrian carried Ellie upstairs to bed. Lila waited in the living room, looking at the family photos on the mantel. There was one of Adrian and a beautiful woman holding a baby, his late wife. Lila felt a pang of sadness for everything he had lost. That's Lavra, Adrian said, coming back downstairs. Ellie's mom. She died in a car accident when Ellie was 8 months old. I'm so sorry. It's been 6 years. The grief doesn't go away, but you learn to live with it. Lavra would have liked you. She believed in kindness and helping others too. They sat on the couch together. Adrian took Lila's hand. I need to tell you something. Something I should have mentioned before, but I was afraid it would change things. Lila's heart sank. Was he married? Moving away? What is it? I'm not just a guy who works in tech. I own a company. A successful company. Wealthy, very wealthy. Layla stared at him, processing the information. The house suddenly made sense. The expensive car. The ease with which he had bought her art supplies. Why didn't you tell me? Because I liked how you treated me. Like I was just Adrian, not Adrian Mercer, the CEO. Not someone who could buy you things or open doors for you. Just me, and I needed that. I've been burned before by people who only saw dollar signs. Lila pulled her hand away, feeling confused. I don't care about your money. I know. That's exactly why I'm telling you now. Because I trust you. Because I want to be honest. I wish you had told me sooner. Would it have changed anything? She thought about it honestly. Maybe. I might have been more nervous, more worried about fitting into your world. That's exactly why I waited. Lila, I don't want you to fit into my world. I want you in my world, just as you are. She looked at him, seeing the vulnerability in his eyes. He was scared too. Scared of losing this connection they had built. Okay, she said finally. I understand. There's something else. Ellie asked me this morning if you could be her art teacher officially. She wants lessons every week. I'd pay you, of course. A fair wage for your time and expertise. Leela's first instinct was to refuse. She did not want to mix money into their relationship. But then she remembered her promise to herself. Accept help when it is offered with kindness. This was Adrian giving her an opportunity to spend time with Ellie and earn money doing something she loved. Yes, she said. I'd love that. Thank you. Adrian's smile could have lit up the whole room. Ellie's going to be so excited. He leaned in and kissed her softly. Stay a while longer. We can talk, or I can show you the rest of the house, or we can just sit here. Sitting here sounds perfect. They stayed on the couch until almost midnight, talking about their lives, their dreams, their fears. Adrian told her about building his company from scratch, about the lonely years after Laura died when he threw himself into work to avoid the grief. Lila told him about her mother leaving, about nights when she and her father ate cereal for dinner because money was tight, about refusing to give up on her art even when it seemed impossible. You're one of the strongest people I've ever met, Adrian said. I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm barely holding on most days. That's exactly what makes you strong. You keep going anyway. When Adrian drove her home that night, Lila felt like she was floating. She had a job doing what she loved. She had a man who respected her. She had a little girl who looked at her with pure affection. Life was finally getting better. Over the next month, Layla fell into a routine. 3 times a week, she went to Adrian's house to teach Ellie painting. The little girl was eager to learn and had a natural eye for color. They painted everything from simple flowers to abstract designs. Adrian would often join them, trying his own hand at art with messy but earnest results. Daddy, you got paint in your hair? Ellie giggled one afternoon. That's what happens when you're a serious artist, Adrian said, striking a dramatic pose that made both girls laugh. Leela's financial situation improved dramatically. Adrian paid her well for the lessons, far more than she had expected. She could afford to fix her apartment's leaky faucet, buy groceries without checking her bank account 3 times, and even save a little money. The relief was overwhelming. She was careful with the money, spending it wisely. New brushes when her old ones wore out. Better quality paint. A few new clothes to replace the worn ones in her closet. Jasmine noticed the difference immediately. You're glowing, Jasmine said during their break at the diner. This guy must be treating you right. He is. It almost feels too good to be true. Don't say that. You deserve good things. When do I get to meet this mystery man? Son, I promise. One Saturday, Adrian surprised Leela by asking if he could visit her apartment. I've been to my place so many times, but I've never seen where you live. Unless that makes you uncomfortable. No, it's fine, but it's small. Really small. I don't care about size. I want to see your space. Leela cleaned her apartment frantically before he arrived, hiding away her most worn possessions and trying to make the place presentable. When Adrian showed up with Ellie, both wearing casual clothes and carrying bags of groceries, she felt her anxiety fade. We brought supplies for lunch, Adrian said. I thought we could cook together. They made sandwiches and soup, crowding into Leela's tiny kitchen. Ellie stood on a chair to help stir the soup, chattering about a book she was reading. Adrian moved around the small space comfortably, never once making Lila feel like her home was inadequate. After lunch, Ellie spotted Lila's completed paintings stacked against the wall. Can I see these? Of course. Ellie looked through each painting carefully, asking questions about the techniques and colors. Adrian stood beside her, equally absorbed. When they wrapped up, Adrian turned to Lila, eyes intent. These belong in a gallery. This isn't a hobby, Leela, this is professional. I've tried galleries, she said. They all said no. Then they're fools. Let me help. I know people in the art world. I can make some calls. Leela hesitated. It felt like more than tutoring his daughter. It felt like he was offering to use his resources to change her life. "I don't know." "Please," Ellie chimed in. "Leela, you're so talented. Everyone should see your art." The little girl's earnestness melted Layla's resistance. "Okay," she breathed. "Thank you, both of you." Adrian kept his promise. 2 weeks later, he called with news. "A friend who owns a downtown gallery looked at your photos. She wants to meet you. Would that be okay?" "Yes," Leela said, stunned. "Oh my goodness, yes." They set it for Monday. Lila wore her best dress, a simple blue one her father had bought for interviews, and met Adrian outside, portfolio clutched in trembling hands. "You'll do great," he told her. Inside, the owner, an elegant woman named Elena Park, reviewed Lila's work with a cool, discerning eye. Lila barely breathed, braced for the usual rejection. "These are good," Elena said at last. "Raw, emotional, and technically solid. I'd like to feature you in our Emerging Artist Showcase next month. Interested?" Lila's knees went weak. "Yes, thank you so much." They settled details quickly. 10 paintings on display for 2 weeks, with sales split 60-40 in Lila's favor. It was more than she'd ever dared to imagine. On the sidewalk afterward, Lila turned to Adrian, tears streaming. "Thank you. Thank you. You did this," he said firmly. "Your talent did this. I only opened a door, you walked through." She kissed him right there, not caring who saw. "I love you," she blurted. His face lit like sunrise. "I love you too. I've wanted to say it for weeks." That evening they celebrated at Adrian's house. Ellie made everyone wear party hats and insisted on baking a cake. It was lopsided, the frosting uneven, and it tasted like joy. "To Layla," Adrian said, lifting his glass of juice. "The most talented artist I know." "To Leela," Ellie echoed. "My art teacher and my friend." Leela looked at the 2 people who had changed her life and felt her heart overflow. She called her father as soon as she got home. "Dad, something wonderful happened." She told him everything. The gallery, the showcase, Adrian's support. Her father was quiet for a long moment. "Baby girl, I'm so proud of you. You never gave up on your dreams." "I'm scared though. What if nobody buys anything? What if I fail?" "You won't fail. And even if no one buys a single painting, you still succeeded. You got your art in the gallery. That's the dream right there. I love you, Dad. I love you too. Now get some sleep. You've got big things ahead." Leela lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling. Her life had changed so much in just a few months. She had gone from lonely and struggling to loved and hopeful. Adrian had been the catalyst, but she had done the work. She had created the art, taken the chances, accepted the help with gratitude. The universe was finally smiling on her, and she was ready to smile back. The weeks leading up to the gallery showcase flew by in a blur of preparation. Lila painted with renewed energy, creating 2 additional pieces specifically for the show. Adrian watched her work with quiet admiration, often sitting in her apartment for hours just to be near her while she painted. "You get this look on your face when you're painting," he said one evening. "Like nothing else exists except the canvas." "That's what I love about it," Leela said, adding careful strokes to a portrait. "When I paint, all my worries disappear. It's just me and the art." Ellie had become Lila's biggest cheerleader. She told everyone at school about her art teacher's upcoming gallery show. Adrian showed Leela photos of drawings Ellie had made, each one saying, "Good luck, Leela," and crayon letters. Jasmine insisted on helping Leela pick out an outfit for the opening night. They went shopping together, something Lila could actually afford now, thanks to her steady income from teaching Ellie. "What about this?" Jasmine held up a gorgeous dress in emerald green. "It's beautiful, but isn't it too much? Girl, you're the star of a gallery show. Nothing is too much. Besides, Adrian will love it. Leila bought the dress along with simple black heels and a new coat. When she tried everything on at home, she barely recognized herself. She looked confident, successful, like someone who belonged in the art world. The night before the showcase, Adrian took Leila to dinner at a quiet restaurant. It was their first really fancy date. Leila wore her new dress and Adrian wore a sharp suit in deep maroon. "I have something for you," he said after they ordered. He handed her a small wrapped box. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet with a tiny paintbrush charm. "Adrian, this is too much." "It's not too much. It's just enough. I wanted you to have something to remember this moment before everything changes." "What do you mean before everything changes?" "Your art is going to sell tomorrow night. I know it will. And when it does, doors are going to open for you. You'll have opportunities you never imagined. I just want you to remember where you started and how far you've come." Leila put on the bracelet, blinking back tears. "How can you be so sure?" "Because I've watched you create. I've seen the emotion you put into every stroke. People will feel that when they look at your work. They won't be able to walk away without being moved." That night, Leila could barely sleep. She kept checking the clock, willing the hours to pass faster. Finally, morning came. She spent the day getting ready, trying on her outfit 3 times, redoing her hair twice, calling her father for reassurance. "You're going to be amazing," her father said. "I wish I could be there." "I know, Dad. Your shift at the factory. I'll be there in spirit. And baby girl, your mama would be proud. Wherever she is, I hope she knows what an incredible woman you've become." Leila wiped her eyes carefully, not wanting to ruin her makeup. "Thanks, Dad." Adrian picked her up at 6 o'clock. His eyes widened when he saw her. "You look absolutely beautiful. You don't look so bad yourself." Ellie was with Adrian's neighbor for the evening. "She made you this," Adrian said, handing Leila a drawing of a paintbrush and a heart. At the gallery, people were already arriving. Elena greeted Leila warmly. "Ready for your debut?" "As ready as I'll ever be." The gallery had transformed Leila's paintings into something magical. Professional lighting made the colors pop. Small plaques beside each piece listed the title and price. Leila nearly fainted when she saw the numbers. Elena had priced her work higher than she ever would have dared. "Trust me," Elena said, seeing her expression. "These will sell." The evening began slowly. People wandered through the gallery looking at all the artists' work, not just Leila's. She stood in a corner with Adrian, too nervous to mingle. Then a distinguished older couple stopped in front of one of her portraits. "This is remarkable," the woman said to her husband. "Look at the way she captured the emotion in the eyes." Leila held her breath. The couple talked quietly to each other, then approached Elena. 5 minutes later, Elena came over with a huge smile. "Your first sale. Congratulations." "Really? They bought it?" "They did. And they want to meet the artist." The rest of the evening passed in a dream. Leila met collectors, other artists, critics who praised her technique. By the end of the night, 6 of her 10 paintings had sold. 6. More money than she had made in the past year combined. Adrian hugged her tightly. "I told you, you're incredible. I can't believe this is real." "Live it. This is just the beginning." They celebrated with champagne, though Leila only had 1 glass. She wanted to remember every detail of this night. Elena pulled her aside before they left. "I'd like to represent you officially. Gallery representation, commission on sales, help booking shows at other venues. What do you say?" Leila looked at Adrian, who nodded encouragingly. This was what she had wanted for so long. Official representation meant being taken seriously as an artist. It meant a future in art, not just a hobby. "Yes," she said, accepting Elena's offered hand. "Thank you so much." In Adrian's car, Leila finally let herself feel the full weight of what had happened. She laughed and cried at the same time. I'm an artist. A real artist. People bought my work. You were always a real artist, Adrian said gently. Now other people just recognize it too. They drove to his house to tell Ellie. Even though it was past bedtime, the little girl was still awake, sitting with the neighbor on the couch. How did it go? Ellie asked, jumping up. I sold 6 paintings. Ellie screamed with joy and ran to hug Leila. I knew it. I knew everyone would love your art. After the neighbor left, the 3 of them sat together on the couch. Ellie fell asleep between them, her head on Lila's shoulder. Adrian took Leila's hand. I'm so happy for you, he whispered. This wouldn't have happened without you. Yes, it would have. Maybe it would have taken longer, but your talent would have been recognized eventually. I just helped speed things along. Lila kissed him softly, careful not to wake Ellie. Still, thank you. Over the next few weeks, Layla's life changed dramatically. Elena arranged for her to show work at 2 more galleries. A local magazine wanted to interview her. Art students contacted her asking about lessons. She quit one of her shifts at the diner, keeping just the weekend breakfast shift because she genuinely enjoyed the regular customers there. Jasmine was thrilled for her. Look at you becoming fancy. I'm not fancy. I'm just lucky. You're talented, not lucky. There's a difference. Adrian suggested that Leila move to a better apartment. You need a real studio space, somewhere with good light. Leila hesitated. Her current apartment was cheap and she hated the idea of spending more on rent. But Adrian was right. She needed space to work. I'll start looking. I know a building near the Arts Quarter. Good security, lots of natural light. Would you let me help with the deposit? Adrian, no. You've already done so much. Leila, please let me do this. Not because I think you can't handle it, but because I want to help you succeed. Consider it an investment in your future. She looked into his sincere eyes and felt her resistance crumble. Okay, but I'm paying you back eventually. Deal. The new apartment was 3 times the size of her old one. Floor-to-ceiling windows flooded the space with natural light. There was a separate room perfect for a studio. Leila cried when she signed the lease. Ellie helped her move in, carrying small boxes and directing where furniture should go. This is the best apartment ever, she declared. Now you can paint huge pictures. That night, Adrian ordered dinner for all of them, and they ate sitting on the floor of Lila's empty living room. Ellie fell asleep with her head in Leila's lap, exhausted from the excitement. She loves you so much, Adrian said quietly. Sometimes I think she loves you even more than she loves me. That's not possible. You're her whole world. We're her whole world now. Both of us. Lila stroked Ellie's hair gently. I love her too. And I love you. I love you too. More than I thought I could love anyone after Lavra. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city lights outside the windows. Layla thought about how far she had come from that embarrassing mix-up at the coffee shop. One mistake, one kind gesture, one decision to accept help when it was offered. That's all it had taken to change her entire life. She was grateful for every single moment. Are you rooting for Leila and Adrian? Do you believe that love can overcome any obstacle? Drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories like this one. Your support helps keep these stories coming. Life settled into a beautiful routine. Lila painted every morning in her new studio, the light perfect for capturing subtle color variations. She taught Ellie 3 afternoons a week, watching the little girl's skills improve dramatically. Evenings were spent with Adrian, either at his house or hers, talking about their days and making plans for the future. 2 months after her first gallery show, Leila was prepping for a second exhibition when Adrian arrived at her apartment, looking unsettled. What's wrong? She asked at once. I need to tell you something. Victoria, my ex-girlfriend, is back in town. We dated years before Laura. She's been in Europe, but she's moving back. Okay, why do you look so worried? Because she doesn't take no for an answer. When she finds out about us, about you, she's going to cause problems. I just want you prepared. A flicker of anxiety tightened Lila's chest. What kind of problems? Victoria comes from old money. She thinks everyone can be bought or intimidated. She tried to get me back after Laura died, and I wasn't interested. She didn't handle it well. I'm not afraid of your ex-girlfriend. Adrian drew her close. I know you're not. You're stronger than you know. I just want you ready. The warning arrived sooner than either expected. 3 days later, while Lila was dropping off new pieces at the gallery, a tall, elegant woman swept in wearing a cream-colored suit and the air of royalty. Her gaze found Lila and narrowed. You must be the artist Adrian is funding. Lila straightened. I'm Lila Monroe. And Adrian isn't funding me. He bought supplies as a gift and introduced me to this gallery. My work speaks for itself. Elena laughed without warmth. Of course it does. How convenient that a wealthy man noticed you exactly when you needed help. Isn't it the classic story? Poor, struggling artist meets rich single father, slips into his life, his daughter's life. Very calculated. Heat rose in Lila's chest, but her voice stayed level. I'm not defending myself to you. You know nothing about me or my relationship with Adrian. I know he has a weakness for charity cases, the woman said coolly. First his dead wife, who came from nothing. Now you. He loves playing savior. Laura wasn't a charity case. And neither am I. Victoria stepped closer, cutting into Lila's space. Listen carefully. Adrian Mercer is out of your league. He comes from a world you can't imagine: country clubs, charity galas, deals worth millions. You'll never fit there, and eventually he'll realize it. Do yourself a favor and walk away before you get hurt. No. Lila held her ground. I'm not walking away. Adrian and I care about each other, really care, not because of money or status. Ellie is like a daughter to me. I'm not giving that up because you feel threatened. Elena's eyes flashed with anger. You have no idea what you're up against. Maybe not, but I'm not running. Elena left without another word, her heels clicking sharply on the gallery floor. Lila's hands shook as she watched her go. She called Adrian immediately. She just confronted me at the gallery. What did she say? Lila repeated the conversation. Adrian cursed quietly. I'm sorry. She had no right to talk to you that way. I can handle her. I just wanted you to know. I'm coming over tonight. We need to talk about this. That evening, Adrian arrived at Lila's apartment with Ellie. The little girl ran to Hugo, chattering about her day at school. Adrian looked tired but determined. After Ellie was occupied with her homework, Adrian and Lila sat on the balcony of her apartment. The city spread out below them, lights twinkling in the growing darkness. Victoria is going to try to break us up, Adrian said bluntly. She'll use her connections, spread rumors, maybe even try to hurt your career. Let her try. I'm not going anywhere. You say that now, but you don't know how vicious she can be. After Laura died, Victoria showed up at my house constantly. She told people we were dating, showed up at business meetings, tried to turn my friends against anyone I showed interest in. Why does she want you back? Control status. I don't think she ever really loved me. She loved what I represented. A successful husband she could show off. Lila took his hand. I'm not Elena, and I'm not afraid of her. I know you're not. That's one of the things I love about you, your strength. The next week, Victoria's campaign began in earnest. Gossip blogs started running stories about Adrian's new girlfriend, questioning Lila's motives. Photos of them together appeared online with captions suggesting she was a gold digger. Someone even dug up information about Lila's mother leaving, twisting it into a story about abandonment issues and desperate women. Jasmine called Lila after seeing the articles. "Girl, are you okay?" "I'm fine." "It's all lies." "I know that, but other people might believe it." "What are you going to do?" "Ignore it? What else can I do?" But ignoring it became harder when strangers started recognizing Lila on the street. Some were supportive, but others made cruel comments. Someone left a nasty note on her apartment door calling her a user. Her father called worried after seeing the news. "Dad, I'm okay." "Really, these people don't know you. They don't know your heart." "I know." Adrian knows that's what matters. But the stress was taking the toll. Lila had trouble sleeping. Her painting started showing darker themes, anger and frustration seeping into her brushstrokes. Ellie noticed the change. "Are you sad?" the little girl asked during one of their lessons. "No, honey, just dealing with some adult stuff." "Is it because of the mean lady?" Lila looked at Ellie in surprise. "What do you know about that?" "I heard Daddy talking on the phone. He said someone was being mean to you and he wanted to make it stop." "Your dad's a good man. Are you going to leave us?" The question broke Lila's heart. "No, baby, I'm not going anywhere. I love you and your dad too much." Ellie threw her arms around Lila's neck. "Good, because you're my favorite person." That night, Adrian came over after putting Ellie to bed. He found Lila crying on her couch, scrolling through more hateful comments online. "Stop reading that garbage," he said, taking her phone away. "They all think I'm just with you for your money. Who cares what they think? I care because it's not true. I didn't even know you had money when I first met you." Adrian knelt in front of her, taking her hands. "Layla, I want to make a public statement. Set the record straight. Tell them our real story. Will that help?" "I don't know, but I'm not going to sit back and let Alina destroy what we have. I'm going to fight for us." Lila wiped her eyes. "Okay, if you think it will help, then yes, let's do it. And Lila, I love you. Nothing anyone says changes that. I love you too." The next day, Adrian scheduled a press conference. His public relations team advised against it, but he insisted. Lila stood beside him, wearing a blue dress that her father had helped her pick out over video call. "I'm here to address the rumors about my relationship with Lila Monroe," Adrian began, speaking to a room full of reporters. "We met by accident, a case of mistaken identity that turned into the best thing that's ever happened to me. Lila didn't know who I was or how much money I had. She saw me as just Adrian, a single dad trying his best." He looked at Lila and smiled. "She's talented beyond measure. Her art speaks for itself. Any success she's achieved is because of her skill and hard work, not because of me. I'm proud to be with her. I'm proud to introduce my daughter to someone who embodies kindness and integrity. Anyone who suggests otherwise doesn't know Lila at all." Lila squeezed his hand, grateful for his words. "I'm not going to let bitter, jealous people tear down someone I love," Adrian continued. "Lila Monroe is one of the strongest, most genuine people I've ever met. I'm lucky she chose me." The questions came fast after that, but Adrian handled each one calmly. He refused to name Elena specifically, but everyone knew who he was talking about. By the time the press conference ended, Lila felt drained, but hopeful. "That was brave," she told Adrian. "It was necessary. I'm not hiding our relationship or apologizing for loving you." That evening, social media erupted. The response was mixed, but many people defended them. Other artists came forward to praise Lila's work. Regulars from the diner posted memories about how kind she'd always been. And even some of Adrian's business associates issued statements in their support. Victoria made one last move, trying to buy the gallery space where Lila's next show was booked, but the owner, Elena Park refused. "Your work has integrity," Elena told Lila. "I won't let anyone undermine that." Gradually, the uproar faded. New headlines took over. Lila returned to her canvases, Adrian to his office, and Ellie kept up her lessons, blissfully unaware of most of the turmoil. Still, something had shifted. Lila felt steadier, more sure of who she was. She'd faced cruelty and didn't break. She'd stayed beside Adrian through the hard parts. Their relationship had been tested and held. "We made it," she murmured to Adrian one night, sitting beneath the stars on her balcony. "We did," he said. "And we'll make it through whatever comes next too. I believe that now." He kissed her slow and sweet, and a calm settled in Lila's chest. The storm had passed. They were still standing. The weeks after the press conference were quiet. Life found its rhythm again. Lila's second show was a runaway success. Every painting sold before opening night ended. Critics praised her emotional range and technical command. One reviewer dubbed her the most exciting new voice in contemporary portraiture. Adrian and Ellie threw a surprise party at his house, inviting Jasmine, Lila's father, Samuel, Adrian's business partner, Ethan, and several new friends from the art world. "Speech! Speech!" Ellie cried, making everyone laugh. Lila rose, overwhelmed by the warmth in the room. "Thank you for being here. 6 months ago, I was struggling to pay rent and wondering if I'd ever make it as an artist. Now I'm surrounded by people I love, celebrating a success I never imagined. I'm grateful for every one of you." Her father stood, eyes bright. "I'm so proud of you, baby girl. You never let go of your dreams, even when it was hard." "That's because you taught me to keep going, Dad," she said. "You showed me that kindness and hope matter most." After the guests had gone, Lila helped Adrian tidy up while Ellie played in her room. They worked in comfortable silence, moving around each other easily. "Ethan told me something interesting today," Adrian said, washing dishes. "He's been seeing someone. A teacher at Ellie's school." "That's wonderful. He said you inspired him." Watching how brave you were during all the drama with Elena made him realize he needed to take chances on love too. "I wasn't that brave. I was terrified. That's what makes it brave. Being scared and doing it anyway." Layla dried a plate carefully. "Adrian, can I ask you something?" "Anything? Where do you see us in a year?" 5 years. I need to know this is going somewhere." Adrian set down the dish he was holding and turned to face her fully. "In a year, I hope we're living together. Either you move in here or we find a new place that's just ours. In 5 years, I hope we're married. I hope Ellie calls you Mom if she wants to. I hope maybe we've added to our family. You want more children with you?" "Yes, but only if you want that too." Lila felt tears threaten again. "I want all of that. I want a future with you. Then let's build it together." The next morning, Lila received an unexpected phone call. An international art gallery in Florence wanted to feature her work in an exhibition of emerging American artists. It was a huge opportunity, career-defining. "I'd need to go to Florence for 2 weeks," she told Adrian. "Maybe longer if things go well. Then go." "This is amazing, Lila. But what about Ellie's lessons? What about us?" "Ellie can survive 2 weeks without lessons and will be fine. I'll miss you terribly, but I'm not going to hold you back from opportunities. Come with me, both of you. Make it a family trip." Adrian's face lit up. "Are you sure?" "Completely sure. Ellie would love Florence, and I don't want to be away from either of you." They planned the trip carefully. Adrian arranged for his business partner, Ethan, to handle things at the company while they were gone. Layla coordinated with the Florence Gallery. Ellie was ecstatic about going to France. "Can we see the Duomo?" She asked every day, and eat croissants and go to the Uffizi. "We can do all of that," Lila mized. 2 weeks before the trip, Victoria Lang made one final appearance. She showed up at Leela's apartment unannounced. Lila considered not answering the door, but curiosity won out. "What do you want?" Leela asked, not inviting her inside. Victoria looked different, less polished, more uncertain. "I came to apologize." Leela raised an eyebrow. "Really, I was cruel to you, unfair. I let jealousy and bitterness control me." Elena took a deep breath. "Watching you and Adrian handle everything with such grace made me realize how petty I was being. You love him. Really love him. Not his money or his status. Just him? Yes, I do. I never loved him like that. I love the idea of him. The perfect husband on paper, but I didn't see the real person." Elena looked down at her hands. "I'm moving back to Europe. Starting over. I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry before I left." Leela studied the other woman carefully. The apology seemed genuine. "Thank you for saying that. I accept your apology. Take care of him and Ellie. They deserve someone like you." "I will." After Victoria left, Layla called Adrian. "Your ex just came by and apologized." "She did what?" "Apologized. Sincerely, I think. Said she's moving back to Europe. How do you feel about that?" "Relieved and kind of proud that we handled everything without becoming bitter ourselves. That's because you're a better person than most." The trip to Florence was magical. Ellie's eyes went wide when they first saw the Duomo. They spent days exploring museums, eating at sidewalk cafes, and walking along the Arno. Lila's gallery opening was packed with collectors and critics. She sold 8 paintings and received invitations to show work in 3 other European cities. "This is really happening," she told Adrian as they stood on their hotel balcony overlooking the city. "I'm becoming successful. You are always successful. Now others are just recognizing it." Ellie ran out onto the balcony in her pajamas. "Can I sleep with you guys tonight? The bed in my room is too big." "Of course you can," Leela said, scooping the little girl up. They all crowded into one bed, Ellie between them, talking about their favorite parts of the trip until the little girl fell asleep. Adrian reached across his daughter to take Leela's hand. "This is what I want," he whispered. "Forever." "Me, too." When they returned home, Lila found her inbox flooded with messages, gallery requests, interview requests, commission requests. Her career had exploded during those 2 weeks in Florence. She was overwhelmed by the opportunities. "I need help managing all this." She told Adrian, "I'm an artist, not a business person. Hire someone, an agent or manager, someone who can handle the business side while you focus on creating. That costs money. Money you now have. Lila, you sold 14 paintings in the last month. You can afford professional help." She hired an agent, a sharp woman named Ava Sinclair, who specialized in emerging artists. Ava took over all the business negotiations, freeing Lila to focus on what she loved. With more time to paint, Leela's work evolved. Her portraits became deeper, more layered. She started a series called Kindness, featuring ordinary people doing extraordinary things. A teacher staying late to help a student, a nurse holding an elderly patient's hand, a father cooking breakfast for his daughter. One of the paintings featured Adrian and Ellie in their kitchen, Adrian teaching his daughter to make pancakes. It was Leela's favorite piece, and she refused to sell it. "This one's for us," she said. Life felt full and rich. Layla still worked 1 shift a week at the diner, not because she needed the money, but because she enjoyed the routine and the regular customers. Jasmine had been promoted to manager and loved joking about how far they had both come. "Remember when we used to split day-old donuts for lunch?" Jasmine said one morning, "I remember everything. The hard times make the good times even sweeter." "You sound like a greeting card." "I sound like someone who's grateful." 3 months after Florence, Adrian sat Leela down for a serious conversation. Ellie was at a friend's house for a sleepover, giving them rare alone time. "I have something important to ask you," Adrian said, looking nervous. Leela's heart started racing. "Okay, Ellie wants to call you Mom. She asked me if it was okay, and I said I needed to talk to you first. I don't want you to feel pressured, but I also want you to know how much you mean to her. To both of us." Leela felt tears spill down her cheeks. "She wants to call me Mom if you're comfortable with it. She says you're the mom she's always wanted. The mom she prays for every night. Of course I'm comfortable with it. I'd be honored." Adrian pulled her into his arms. "I love you so much." "I love you too." When Ellie came home the next day, Lila was waiting. The little girl ran to her as always, chattering about the sleepover. Leela knelt down to her level. "Ellie, your dad told me you have a question for me." Ellie's face turned shy. "Can I call you Mom?" "If you don't want me to, that's okay. I understand. I would love nothing more than to be your mom. I love you so much, sweetheart." Ellie's face transformed with joy. She threw herself into Leela's arms. "I love you too, Mom." The word hit Leela right in the heart. Mom. She was someone's mom. This beautiful, bright, loving child had chosen her. Adrian watched them with tears in his own eyes, and the three of them stood there in a group hug, holding each other tight. Later that night, after Ellie was in bed, Adrian and Lila sat on the couch in comfortable silence. "Everything's changing so fast," Lila said. "Sometimes I can barely keep up. Change is good when it's the right change. This is definitely the right change." They sat there until midnight, making plans for the future, dreaming together about everything that was still to come. Outside, the city twinkled with a million lights. Each one a possibility, each one a hope. And inside, wrapped in love and gratitude, Lila finally felt like she was exactly where she belonged. Leela's third major gallery show opened on a crisp autumn evening. The gallery had transformed into a warm, inviting space showcasing her kindness series. Each painting told a story of compassion, of small moments that changed lives. Critics had already seen preview images and were calling it her most mature work yet. Leela stood in front of the mirror in the gallery's back room, adjusting her dress. She wore a vibrant red dress that Ellie had helped her pick out. Simple but elegant. Her father stood beside her, looking distinguished in his best suit. "You ready for this, baby girl?" Samuel Monroe asked. "I think so. It's bigger than my last shows. More pressure. You've been ready for this your whole life. You just didn't know it yet." They walked out into the gallery together. Adrian and Ellie were already there along with Jasmine and Ethan. Ellie wore a maroon dress with white flowers, her hair styled in neat braids. She ran over when she saw Lila. "Mom, your paintings look amazing." Every time Ellie called her mom, Lila's heart swelled. "Thank you, sweetie. Did you see the one of you and your dad? That's my favorite one." "Well, that one and the one with the grandpa reading to kids." The gallery filled quickly. Collectors, critics, other artists, journalists. Leila moved through the crowd gracefully, answering questions about her work and technique. She caught Adrian watching her from across the room, his expression full of pride and love. An elderly man stood in front of the painting of the nurse and patient. He wiped his eyes with a handkerchief. "This was my wife," he said when he noticed Lila beside him. "She was a nurse for 40 years. She would sit with patients just like this, holding their hands, making them feel less alone. I painted it thinking about people like your wife," Lila said gently. "The people who show up with kindness every single day. I'd like to buy this one, whatever the price." The painting sold for $15,000. By the middle of the evening, 7 more pieces had sold. Leila could barely process the numbers. A year ago, she had been living paycheck to paycheck. Now her art was worth thousands. Elena Park, the gallery owner, pulled Lila aside. "There's someone here who wants to meet you. A major collector from New York. He's interested in commissioning a series." The collector, an older gentleman named Martin Hawley, explained his vision. "I want portraits of everyday heroes, firefighters, teachers, social workers, volunteers, people who make the world better without expecting recognition. 20 paintings. I'll pay you $50,000 per piece." Lila's mind went blank. $1 million. He was offering her $1 million. "That's very generous," she managed. "You're very talented," he said. "I've collected for 30 years, and your work has something rare heart. We need more of that. Think it over. Can I have a week?" "Of course. Talk it over with your people." He passed her a card. "I hope you'll say yes." After he left, Lila found Adrian. "Did that really just happen?" "It did. What am I supposed to say?" "I don't know. It's a lot of money and a lot of work. You can do it if you want it. Don't feel pressured." Lila thought for all of 2 minutes. This was a chance to make art with purpose, to spotlight people who deserve to be seen. It was everything she believed in. "I want to do it," she said, "but I'll need help, interviews, travel, months to dedicate." "Then we'll make it work," Adrian said. "Whatever you need." The rest of the evening blurred congratulations, conversations. Ellie clung to Lila's side, beaming whenever someone praised the paintings. Jasmine wrapped her in a fierce hug. "Look at you, my best friend, the successful artist." "I'm still the same person." "I know. That's the best part. Success didn't change you." Samuel Monroe waited until the crowd thinned before approaching. "Your mama would be so proud. I wish she could see this." "I wish that too, Dad. But you're here, and you're proud enough for both of us." He pulled her close. "You're proof that dreams come true when you work hard and treat people right." When the gallery closed, the core group headed to a nice restaurant. Ellie bounced in her seat, breathless as she relayed every compliment she'd overheard. "Everyone loves you, Mom. I told them all you were my mom, and they said I'm lucky." "I'm the lucky one," Lila said, kissing her forehead. That night, after Adrian took Ellie home and Lila was alone in her apartment, she called her father. "Dad, I don't know how to process this. Everything's happening so fast. Baby girl, you're receiving what you've always deserved. The universe is finally catching up to your talent. I accepted the commission. $1 million for 20 paintings." Samuel was quiet for a beat. "That's life-changing money." "I know. I want to help you let you retire early. You've worked so hard for so long." "Lila, no. You earned it. Keep it. Dad, please. You sacrificed everything to raise me alone. Let me give something back. It would make me so happy." "We'll talk about it," Samuel said, his voice thick with emotion. "But right now, just enjoy this moment. You did it. You really made it." After hanging up, Lila stood at her window looking out at the city. She thought about the journey that had brought her here. The struggling waitress who could barely afford paint. The woman who made a mistake at a coffee shop and found love instead of embarrassment. The artist who finally believed in herself. Her phone buzzed with a text from Adrian. "Ellie wants you to know she's very proud of her mom." Lila smiled, tears streaming down her face. Happy tears. Grateful tears. She texted back, "Tell her I'm very proud to be her mom." Another text came through. "I love you. Sleep well. Dream about all the beautiful things coming your way. I love you too." Already dreaming. She fell asleep that night with a full heart, ready for whatever came next. The exhibition had been a success beyond her wildest expectations. But more than that, she had people who loved her, supported her, believed in her. That was worth more than any amount of money. The next morning, Layla woke up early and went straight to her studio. She had 20 paintings to create, 20 stories to tell. She set up a fresh canvas and mixed her paints carefully. This was going to be her best work yet. As she made the first brushstroke, her phone rang. It was Ava Sinclair, her agent. "Leela, I have good news. Several museums are interested in acquiring pieces from your kindness series for their permanent collections." "Museums? Really? Really? And there's more. A major publication wants to do a feature story on you. They're calling you one of the most important emerging artists of the decade." Leela sat down overwhelmed. "This doesn't feel real." "It's real. You're making an impact, not just with your technical skill, but with the message in your work. You're reminding people that kindness matters. In today's world, that's revolutionary." After the call ended, Lila returned to her canvas. She painted with purpose, with joy, with gratitude. Each stroke was a thank you. Thank you to Adrian for believing in her. Thank you to Ellie for loving her. Thank you to her father for never letting her give up. Thank you to Jasmine for being a true friend. Thank you to everyone who had supported her journey. That afternoon, Adrian stopped by with lunch. They ate together in her studio, talking about the commission and the museum interest. "You're going to need a bigger space soon," he said, looking around at her growing collection of supplies and canvases. "I was thinking about that. Maybe a real studio separate from my apartment. Or," Adrian said carefully, "you could move in with us. There's that whole wing of the house we never use. We could convert it into a studio for you. Perfect lighting, plenty of space." Leela's heart skipped. "Move in with you? I know it's soon, but we're together all the time anyway. Ellie asks about you constantly when you're not there, and I sleep better when I know you're close." "What about Ellie? Is she ready for that?" "She's the one who suggested it. Last night she asked why you don't live with us yet." Leela thought about it. Her apartment was nice, but it was just a place. Home was wherever Adrian and Ellie were. "Okay," she said. "Yes, I'd love to move in." Adrian's smile was brighter than the sun. "Really? Really? When do you want me there?" "Athenro, tonight?" "Whenever you're ready." They laughed and kissed, excited about this next step. Leela felt a flutter of nerves, but mostly just happiness. This was right. This was exactly what she wanted. Over the next week, Leela moved her belongings into Adrian's house. Ellie helped enthusiastically, deciding which room should be Lila's studio and where everything should go. They painted the studio walls together, Ellie insisting on adding small flowers in the corners as decoration. "Now it's perfect," Ellie declared. "Now you can make beautiful art here forever." "Forever sounds good to me," Lila said, pulling Ellie into a hug. That evening, the three of them sat down for their first official family dinner in their shared home. Adrian cooked, Lila set the table, and Ellie folded napkins into fancy shapes she had learned from a video. "Should we say grace?" Ellie asked. "That's a nice idea," Adrian said. They held hands around the table. Ellie spoke first. "Thank you for my new mom. Thank you for my dad. Thank you for this food in our home and being together." "I'm in," Ian, Lila, and Adrian echoed. As they ate, laughing and talking about their days, Lila felt complete peace. This was her family. These were her people. This was her life, and it was more beautiful than anything she could have painted. 6 months passed in beautiful routine. Leila worked on the commission series, traveling to interview and photograph her subjects. She met a firefighter who ran a youth program on his days off, a retired teacher who tutored homeless children for free, a doctor who volunteered at clinics in underserved neighborhoods. Each person's story moved her, and she poured that emotion into her paintings. Adrian supported her completely, adjusting his work schedule so he could be home when Ellie got out of school. Ellie continued to flourish, her own artistic skills improving dramatically under Layla's teaching. The house felt alive with creativity and love. On a Saturday morning in April, Leila woke up to find Adrian and Ellie gone. A note on the kitchen counter said, "Meet us in the backyard at noon. Dress comfortably. We have a surprise." Curious, Leila spent the morning painting until it was time. She put on jeans and a bright blue shirt, wondering what they had planned. When she stepped into the backyard, she gasped. The space had been transformed. A small building stood where the old shed used to be. Not a shed, but a proper studio with large windows and a peaked roof. A ribbon was tied across the door. Adrian and Ellie stood beside it, both grinning widely. "What is this?" Leila asked, walking closer. "It's your studio," Ellie said, bouncing with excitement. "A real one with good light and space for all your paintings." "We've been planning it for months," Adrian explained. "I know the room in the house works, but I wanted you to have a dedicated space somewhere that's just yours." Leila looked at the building, then at them, tears already falling. "You built me a studio." "We designed it together," Ellie said proudly. "I helped pick out the windows and the floor color. Can we go inside?" "Leila." Ellie untied the ribbon and threw open the door. The interior took Leila's breath away. The space was perfect. Natural light flooded in through skylights and large windows. Built-in shelves lined one wall, already stocked with premium art supplies. A large easel stood in the center with several blank canvases beside it. A comfortable couch sat in one corner, perfect for breaks or for Ellie to sit and watch her work. "This is incredible," Leila whispered. "I can't believe you did this." "There's more," Adrian said, guiding her to the back of the studio. A beautiful wooden desk sat against the far wall. On it was a framed photograph of the three of them from their Paris trip, all smiling at the camera. Beside the photo was a small box. "What's this?" Leila asked, her heart pounding. "Open it," Ellie said, practically vibrating with excitement. Leila opened the box with shaking hands. Inside was a key and a folded piece of paper. She unfolded the paper carefully. It was a drawing Ellie had made showing three stick figures holding hands. The words "our family" were written across the top in crayon. "Look at the other side," Ellie urged. Leila turned the paper over. In Adrian's handwriting, it read, "Leila, you came into our lives by accident and became our greatest blessing. You taught Ellie about art and taught me about love. You made our house a home. Will you make it official? Will you marry me?" Leila looked up to find Adrian on one knee holding a ring box. Ellie stood beside him, hands clasped together, eyes shining with hope. "I love you," Adrian said. "I love your kindness, your talent, your strength. I love how you make Ellie laugh and how you never give up on your dreams. I love being with you every single day. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" "Yes," Leila said through tears. "Yes, absolutely yes." Adrian slipped the ring onto her finger. It was perfect. A simple sapphire surrounded by small diamonds, elegant and understated. Ellie squealed and jumped up and down, then ran to hug them both. "You're going to be my real mom now," Ellie said. "Forever and ever." "I was already your real mom," Leila said, kissing the top of Ellie's head. "But yes, now it's official." They spent the afternoon in the new studio. Leila started a painting while Adrian and Ellie sat on the couch, all of them talking excitedly about wedding plans. Ellie had approximately 1,000,000 ideas about what the wedding should look like. "Can I be the flower girl? And can we have a chocolate cake? And can I wear a pretty dress?" "Yes to all of that," Leila said, laughing. "Whatever you want." That evening, they called everyone with the news. Samuel Monroe cried on the phone, telling Adrian to take good care of his baby girl. Jasmine screamed so loudly that Leila had to hold the phone away from her ear. Ethan congratulated Adrian and joked that he had finally made an honest woman of her. "When's the wedding?" Jasmine asked. "I need time to find the perfect dress. We haven't decided yet." "Soon though, we don't want a long engagement." "Good. You two have waited long enough." Over dinner, they talked seriously about the wedding. Both Lila and Adrian wanted something small and meaningful, not a huge society event. "Just our closest friends and family," Adrian said. "The people who really matter." "I love that idea. Maybe in the garden here. It's beautiful in spring. Perfect. We could have the ceremony under the big oak tree." Ellie was already planning her outfit. "Can my dress be red?" "Red is a power color. Your dress can be whatever color you want," Lila assured her. That night, after Ellie was tucked in, she and Adrian sat together in the new studio. Moonlight poured through the windows, washing everything in silver. "Are you happy?" Adrian asked. "More than happy," she said. "I'm grateful for you, for Ellie, for this life we're building. A year ago, I couldn't have imagined any of it." "It's only the beginning," he said. "There's so much ahead of us." "I know," she whispered. "And I can't wait." They fell into an easy quiet, fingers intertwined, watching stars spark one by one in the deepening sky. Lila thought about the path that had led her here, the mix-up at the coffee shop, the steady way trust had grown, the hurdles they'd faced and cleared. Every step had carried her to this calm, shining moment. "Thank you," she said softly. "For what?" "For seeing me the real me. For loving me as I am. And for letting me love you. For trusting me with your heart." They stayed late, sketching out dreams, marriage, more children, growing old together, watching Ellie chase her own future. A life stitched with kindness, hope, and love, the things that mattered most. Walking back to the house hand in hand, Layla glanced up at the night and sent a silent thank you to second chances, to unexpected meetings, to love that rewrites everything, to the beautiful mistake that led her exactly where she belonged. The wedding was set for a Saturday in late May. The garden had burst into bloom, flowers in every shade forming a natural cathedral. White chairs lined up in neat rows faced the old oak where Leela and Adrian would speak their vows. On the morning of the ceremony, Leela woke in her old apartment. Jasmine had insisted on keeping the tradition of not seeing each other beforehand. Lila, Jasmine, and Ellie got ready together, the rooms full of laughter and a charged, joyful flutter. "Hold still," Jasmine said, sliding the final pin into Lila's hair. "You need to look perfect." "She already looks perfect," Ellie chimed from the bed, twirling in her red flower girl dress. Lila studied her reflection. The gown was simple and lovely soft white fabric that flowed, edged with delicate blue embroidery at the hem, a nod to her favorite color. Her hair fell in gentle curls, pinned back with tiny white blossoms. The sapphire engagement ring sparkled on her finger. "I'm getting married," she said, the reality hitting her. "You're getting married," Jasmine echoed, hugging her carefully so as not to wrinkle the dress. "To a good man who loves you exactly as you deserve to be loved." A knock on the door interrupted them. Samuel Monroe entered wearing a sharp gray suit. He stopped when he saw his daughter, his eyes immediately filling with tears. "Dad, don't cry yet," Leela said, her own voice shaking. "We haven't even left for the wedding." "You look just like your mother," Samuel said softly. "She would be so proud of the woman you've become. So proud of the life you've built. I wish she was here." "She is here. In your kind heart, in your determination, in your ability to love, she's here." The drive to Adrian's house was short. When they arrived, guests were already seated. Ethan was there with his girlfriend Dana. Elena Park from the gallery sat near the front. Several of Lila's Art World contacts had come. Adrian's business associates filled the back rows, but the front row on both sides held the people who mattered most. Lila's father, Jasmine, and her family. and on Adrian's side, his parents, who had flown in from Oregon. But before the ceremony could start, a commotion at the entrance caught everyone's attention. A well-dressed man in his 60s approached, looking uncertain. "I'm looking for Lila Monroe," he said to Ethan, who was serving as usher. "Who are you?" Ethan asked cautiously. "My name is Martin Hale. I'm the collector who commissioned Miss Monroe for a series. I heard about the wedding and wanted to deliver something personally if I'm not too late." Ethan went to find Adrian, who came to greet the unexpected guest. Martin apologized profusely for the timing. "I wouldn't have come to interrupt, but this couldn't wait. You see, I've been showing Lila's completed paintings to my colleagues. There's an art dealer from London who wants to offer her an international exhibition contract. 3-year commitment, exhibitions in 5 countries, guaranteed minimum earnings of $2 million. Everyone nearby gasped. Adrian stared at Martin in shock. "I need her answer soon. The dealer is only in the country for 2 more days." Martin handed Adrian an envelope. "The contract details are here. I'm sorry for the terrible timing, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Adrian looked at the envelope, then at the guest, then back at Martin. "Why don't you stay for the wedding? You can give it to Lila yourself afterward. We'd be honored to have you." "Are you certain?" "I don't want to impose." "You're not imposing. You're bringing good news. Please stay." Martin accepted gratefully and found a seat. Ethan returned to where Lila was waiting with her father, both tense from seeing the commotion. "Everything okay?" Samuel asked. "Everything's perfect," Ethan said with a huge grin. "You're about to marry Adrian and apparently get offered millions of dollars. Just a normal Saturday." The music started before Lila could ask what he meant. Ellie walked down the aisle first, scattering flower petals and grinning at everyone. Then it was time. Samuel offered his arm to his daughter. "Ready, baby girl?" "More ready than I've ever been for anything." They walked down the aisle together. Layla barely saw the guests or the decorations. Her eyes locked onto Adrian, standing under the oak tree in a sharp navy suit, looking at her like she was the only person in the world. Beside him stood Ethan as best man, smiling encouragingly. When they reached the front, Samuel placed Lila's hand in Adrian's. "Take care of my girl." "With my life," Adrian promised. The ceremony was short and meaningful. They had written their own vows, speaking from the heart about love, partnership, and the journey that had brought them together. "Lila," Adrian said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. "You walked into my life by accident and changed everything. You showed me that love doesn't follow a plan. It shows up when you least expect it and transforms everything it touches. You made me believe in second chances. You gave Ellie a mother who adores her. You reminded me what it means to really live. I promise to support your dreams, celebrate your successes, and stand beside you through every challenge. I promise to love you completely every single day for the rest of our lives." Lila wiped tears from her eyes. "Adrian, when I met you, I was lost. I had given up on finding love, on believing that good things could happen to me. You proved me wrong in the best possible way. You saw my potential when I couldn't see it myself. You supported my dreams without trying to control them. You gave me a family, a home, a future, and you did it all with kindness and respect. I promise to love Ellie as my own daughter always. I promise to be your partner in all things. I promise to never stop creating art that matters. And I promise to build a life with you that's full of hope, kindness, and love. By the power vested in me," the officiant said, "I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." Adrian pulled Lila and kissed her softly. The guests erupted in applause. Ellie ran up and hugged them both, creating a family embrace that had everyone reaching for tissues. The reception was held in the garden with tables set up under strings of lights. Food was served family style, encouraging conversation and connection. Speeches were given by Ethan, who joked about Adrian being hopeless before meeting Lila, and Jasmine, who cried while recounting their years of friendship at the diner. Samuel Monroe gave the most moving speech of all. "My daughter has always had the biggest heart of anyone I know. Even when times were hard, even when we had nothing, she found ways to help others. She believed in kindness when the world gave her every reason not to. Today she's marrying a man who recognizes that kindness and values it. Adrian, you're getting the best person I know. Treat her well, and you'll have a partner for life who will make every day brighter." After dinner, Adrian and Lila had their first dance. Ellie insisted on joining halfway through, and they pulled her into the dance. The three of them swaying together under the lights. During a quiet moment, Martin Holly approached Lila and Adrian with the envelope. "I hate to bring up business during your wedding, but this offer expires in 48 hours. Lila read through the contract, her eyes widening at the terms. International exhibitions, guaranteed income, complete creative control. It was more than she had ever imagined. "This is incredible," she said, looking at Adrian. "But it means traveling a lot. Would that be okay?" "Of course, it's okay. We'll travel with you. Ellie would love seeing the world, and I can work from anywhere. We're a team now. We go together." Lila looked at the contract again, then at Martin. "I accept. Thank you for this opportunity. I'll make you proud." "You already have," Martin said. "Your talent deserves this platform." As the evening wore on, guests began to leave. Each one stopped to congratulate the couple and wish them well. When Alina Park said goodbye, she pulled Lila aside. "You've become one of my most important artists," she said. "But more than that, you've shown everyone in the art world that success doesn't require selling your soul. You've stayed true to yourself and your values. That's rare and precious. Thank you for taking a chance on me. Thank you for making me look good," Elena said with a laugh. Finally, only close family remained. They sat around tables eating leftover cake and talking. Ellie had fallen asleep on Lila's lap, exhausted from the excitement. Adrian had his arm around both of them. "This is perfect," Samuel said, looking at his daughter. "This is everything I wanted for you." "I know, Dad. I'm so happy." When the last guests left, Adrian carried Ellie inside and put her to bed. Layla stood in the garden, looking at the remnants of the celebration. The lights still twinkled overhead and flower petals scattered the ground like confetti. Adrian came back outside and wrapped his arms around her from behind. "How does it feel to be Mrs. Mercer?" "It feels like coming home." They swayed gently to music only they could hear, holding each other in the quiet night. Above them, stars filled the sky. Each one a promise. Each one a dream. "We did it," Lila whispered. "We really did it. We did. And this is just the beginning." 1 year later, Leila stood in a London gallery looking at her work displayed on pristine white walls. The exhibition had been open for 2 weeks and had received outstanding reviews. Adrian stood beside her, holding hands with Ellie, who was now 7, and talking non-stop about all the things they had seen in England. "When's the baby coming?" Ellie asked, patting Lila's growing belly. 3 more months, sweetie. I can't wait to be a big sister." Leila looked at her family and felt overwhelming gratitude. She had come so far from that nervous woman in a coffee shop, making a mistake that turned into a blessing. She had her art career, her loving husband, her daughter, and soon a new baby. She had her father healthy and happy in early retirement. She had friends who celebrated her successes and supported her through challenges. But most importantly, she had learned to accept help when it was offered with kindness. She had learned that love shows up unexpectedly and transforms everything it touches. She had learned that dreams come true not through luck, but through talent, hard work, and the courage to keep going even when things seem impossible. "Ready for dinner?" Adrian asked. "We have reservations." "Ready," Leela said, as they stepped out of the gallery into the London evening, Ellie skipping ahead. Layla thought of all the people who had shaped her path, the barista from that first day, the gallery owners who took a chance, the subjects who taught her courage, the strangers who became supporters, the family she had built. Life was beautiful. Life was full. Life was exactly what she had always hoped it could be, and more. And it had all begun with one simple mistake, one act of kindness, one decision to say yes to love. The end was only another beginning. And Leela couldn't wait to see what came next.